Hey everyone, welcome back to today's Love Transformation class. Now, every year we contemplate just how things are changing in the dating landscape. And wow, we live in such transformational times. There's been so many energy shifts. My guest today is an expert in dating, is an expert in matchmaking, and she has some really practical, really strategic things to share with us today, which we all love to have more ideas and tools in our toolkit. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello. So lovely to be here again, joining so many gorgeous women, like ready to take hold of their love life. And I guess I often describe myself as a love strategist, helping people kind of navigate modern dating because it can be an absolute minefield. So really excited to be here again, and so excited to get stuck in with all of the practicality of finding love.
Just for those who weren't with us last year, and this is their first year joining us, can you just quickly introduce yourself to all the girls watching?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Sarah Louise Ryan. I'm a international matchmaker. I've been working in the global dating industry for 10 years now, almost 11, and I help often time poor single professionals who are looking to find love. They often don't have time for the swiping apps or online dating platforms, and that's because they're solicitors, doctors, nurses, lawyers. They don't want to see their patients, their clients and whatnot, and also they're not really willing to sink time in meaningless connections. And the financial input, as we all very well know, when it comes to finding a significant other on all those dates and all the platforms and all of that. And so they want to take the love life into the hands of themselves and also work with a professional to get to the nitty gritty of compatibility. So I work with singles on three core components, such as intellectual compatibility, deep emotional connection, and also sexual stimulation. So they can have the foundations to build a compatible connection for the long run. They're not looking for surface level interactions, meaningless meanders, so to speak. They're looking for the real deal. And so, yeah, I work on a deeper level with them and help strategize the search and connect them with individuals who are wanting the same wants and not I guess crossing their non-negotiables when it comes to values and what they want in love. So that's who I am. That's what I do, and it's really a vocation for me. My voice sounds like this because I've been chatting dating in the lead up to Valentine's absolutely nonstop, and yeah, I'm just wildly passionate about what I do.
The feedback on our interview last year was amazing because you provided so many practical tips about what's happening. And I know that a lot of the clients that come to work with you have almost reached a point where they're a bit exhausted or what they're doing hasn't been working. And you are actually in a position where you get some feedback about what's working, what's not working, app dating, what's actually happening in the dating landscape, and also some insights into how things are changing and moving. So I'd love to hear what is the latest sort of information about dating life right now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so pleased that you asked that because right now, of course, you can imagine is the busiest time of year for people kind of surging to find that significant other, that deep and meaningful connection. So on the surface, that sounds great because there are so many more singles navigating dating apps and platforms and whatnot. However, I often think, especially about this pool of women that are tuning in, they're really you're all really conscious, like you're connecting so deeply to yourselves, with each other and with information to make informed decisions for your life that are aligned with your values. So the thing is about the 35% surge and increase in people looking for love right now is that they don't all have the same intentions. So if you're like listening in and you're looking for a committed, consciously and deeply connected relationship, just know that the extra 35% of singles that you're going to see on those apps that you haven't crossed paths with before, they won't have the same intentions for you. Some people are looking to fill a Valentine's void. They're looking to eradicate short-term loneliness in a time where there's peer pressure. So if you are that woman that's looking for committed, conscious, deep connection, just be really mindful of who you're connecting with during this time.
I think we should chat a little bit more about what some of the strategies are that we can use in order to pre-qualify men a little bit better, perhaps online and offline. But I just wanted to sort of also speak a little bit to what this global situation that we're in, the fact that a lot of us have been in a semi-hibernation in our dating and our love life for some time, or we've had a lot of restrictions in terms of being able to meet up in person, being able to be out in social situations. What impact do you think that that's actually had on the dating landscape and where we are in February 2022?
Yeah, I think that's also such a really important, relevant question to the time. I'm seeing a lot of people having done the work on themselves. They've spent the last couple of years really getting to know themselves, having the time to invest in, hopefully self-care, self-love, introspection, learning all of those important lessons about love, things that haven't served them in the past, and really getting ready to hit the ground running. But I see that there's two things. There's one side of it is that people are feeling like they've got less time to waste or lose, so they're putting more pressure on themselves for that deep connection. So leaving less lead time for things to like slowly build momentum and work with that slow burn chemistry that gives it like the art of the air of mystery, which sparks the flame of desire. I think when we want to know everything and we want to know it all at once, it creates a pressure cooker environment, and we cannot connect with each other naturally. I know I say I'm a love strategist, but don't approach your dates so strategically. Really create them strategically, of course, but when you're on the date, really lean into how you're feeling, really lean in to who they are, and whether you feel they see you and hear you and connect with you. Don't arrive with this list of questions you want to ask them to sieve them out very quickly. Just really feel into the chemistry and feel into the connection. So there's that. Is one side of it, the peer pressure and the pressure cooker to be in a relationship after so much time lost. And the second thing is that on an energetic level, people have really lost the art of flirtation, because we human beings, we're built for connection, we're built for community, we're built to connect with one another. And so many of us have forgotten how to step into that, feminine energy of flirtation and really connect with our sensual, sensitive selves, and navigating a flirtatious dating environment, because it can be quite daunting to put oneself out there. But I guess I'm thinking about being big, bold, brave, and your most beautiful self, and just being like, here's who I am. I'm fully in my feminine self, and I'm stepping into the art of the flirt. I'm gonna really enjoy and be playful. Like, I guess when I was talking about the pressure cooker, the other side of that is eradicating the playfulness. And at the end of the day, to be playful is to be joyful, is to be happy. And if we're approaching it with such a I guess regimented, methodical mentality on a date, we're not bringing our playful, joyful, happy sides. And happy is the most attractive trait, overall. You want to date a happy person, and you are not looking for someone to complete you. You're already complete. So you're looking for someone to complement your completeness. So bringing your happy self and your playful self.
And I want the girls to have some really practical things to take away. So I just wanted to clarify with you, as far as setting ourselves up on those early stage dates, there was and has been kind of a formula that we've often recommended, as far as try and speak to someone on the phone or have a Zoom call first, just to see, what you can pick up through a voice conversation, and then have a short coffee date for your first actual in-person day, just in case you don't vibe with them and you haven't committed to a big long dinner, and then gradually make those dates a little bit longer. And the formula that we recommended to women, do you still see that structure as being still the right way to proceed with this, or is there a different way that people are setting themselves up for success in those early stages of dating?
The first thing that comes to mind for me, definitely, it's like dating post-pandemic. We look at it differently. What I see singles doing now is kind of slipping into this comfort zone of building pseudo relationships with people. And what I mean by that is they're sitting on the social media platforms, like wherever they've met them, the app, WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever, text message, and just liaising like pen pals for such a long period of time. And that comes with, our introvertedness, almost like hibernation of, okay, I want to scope them out to see whether it's worth my time to meet them in person. And so I guess there's like an extra step that needs to really be addressed ahead of that date, which we'll get to, is that meet people quickly and date them slowly. So, if a guy asks you for your telephone number straight off the bat, and he wants to chat with you for a long time on an app, or you're asking them and you want to chat with them, I would say wait until a day before, set the date first. Wait until a day before you've got the date in the diary and say, oh, I'd rather, give you my number closer to the time. I'm not very good at text message. I'm a busy person. And it's just that you're giving away your data, but you're also giving away so much yourself, and you want them to work for something. Actually, you don't want to just be like, yeah, here's my number off the cuff and let's chat for weeks on end. And I see people building emotional, or what they perceived it's pseudo emotional connection with people who are not aligned with their values, wants and goals for love, because they have built up this idea in the mind of who they are. The person behind that profile or screen is not necessarily the person that you're perceiving them to be. So get onto the date quickly. And it's as if the date formula, you were saying, oh, is it a coffee date, or do something experiential. So make sure you're creating a joyful situation for yourself. Forget them for a minute. Like, what do you want to do? Is there a place that you want to go? Is there something you want to see, do, create? Are you like, how are you feeling? Lean into that and create something that you're genuinely excited about. Taking the pressure off the connection, off the outcome. Like, don't go in thinking this is going to be my forever love. Go in thinking, what fun can I have today? What am I going to learn about myself? What experience am I going to have? And what memories am I going to take away from this moment I'm spending with an absolute stranger more often than not? So then, you'll arrive with a completely different energy that is like intentional for yourself, right? Taking the pressure off. So do something that, is a nice experience, a couple of hours. It could be a cooking class, it could be going to paint somewhere, it could be a mix. If you fancy a glass of wine, not too many, or a cocktail, go to a mixology lesson and do something. Whilst I know it's an investment in, financially, in a person that you don't know, you've taken way more than just are they good and right, and do I fancy the pants off them or not, away from that time spent. And we can't make more time in the world, so just make the most of it. So I would say that instead of a coffee date.
What do you think we should be finding out or pre-qualifying, if anything, from somebody other than their intention to meet up in person? What do you think? Is there anything that we should be pre-qualifying via text or via message before we meet someone in person? Or do you really feel like the whole process of communicating via message is really to organise to meet up in person? Is there some things that are important?
So a way of pre-qualifying by default is by not being afraid to show up as who you are truly, fully, authentically in whatever profile or app you're using when you're describing yourself. So I did mention this last year, touched upon it, and I'm going to do it again for especially all the people, the wonderful ladies that are joining us this year, is that don't be afraid to be yourself. Tell them what your interests are, tell them what you value, tell them how you like to spend your time, what intrigues you and interests you, and give them a little insight into your lifestyle. And just by default, the people that do not align with who you fully are, don't, by not being afraid to put yourself out there in that way, without giving anything confidential away, just about your life and your lifestyle. Um, they will fall by the wayside, and then you're already qualifying those people in that are aligned with your lifestyle, aligned with similar interests, aligned with common ground. The less you put about yourself, the less they have to go on, and the more of the wrong people you're going to attract to yourself. So then, start engaging, um, playfully, also interactively in the messaging when you're asking them questions such as, what books have you been reading? Tell me about this photo. You look like you were here, doing this, that, and the other. I'm really interested in that. And start to find that common ground and then say, hey, not too great at navigating apps and chit chatting for hours. Be so great to meet you in person. How about X, Y, and Z? Like, don't be afraid to take the lead. Like, you are the leader of your love life after all. So like, it's a bit of a tricky I guess, like, world to navigate, the singles world today. So don't sit back and wait for someone to approach you, as much as you might like it if you have like traditional values, but just stand out from the crowd in the first instance. And if you want someone else to lead, let them do that on the date, but make your intentions clear that you'd like to connect with them. Equally, they might do the same. Yeah, that's my top tips to qualify them in, and disqualify those people. And then when you're on the date, it's like, I'm sure with lots of other coaches on this beautiful breakthrough retreat, like I feel like you're working for your values, you're working for getting to know yourself so well, and start to subtly, slowly immerse your values into integrating them into conversation, scoping out whether they seem to align, their responsiveness, how they communicate, what they're picking up on. Um, and yeah, don't be afraid to do that and see how they align with you. And if it feels like maybe family orientation is really important to you, and they don't really seem very connected to their family, and it's saying a lot. You're making, you're seeing that means a lot to you and not to them, and scoping things like that out more. But just don't be on a first date for marriage or for long-term commitment. Just be on it for fun, to be present, to be playful, and to see if that chemistry is there while scoping out whether the values are aligned.
There's often two stages in the dating process where I think girls can get a little bit, they can make a misstep, so to speak. One might be in
Yeah.
the process of putting themselves out there, creating their profile, matching, trying to have conversations with people that then get to dates. And the other one is then when we get to dates, those early dates not really evolving into something that becomes more significant or something that becomes a consistent relationship. What are some of the common missteps that we're making, do you think, that you've noticed?
So super relevant to the landscape of modern dating, especially for women, especially for conscious women who've done the work on themselves and they know what they want. It's almost an impatience to find that connection instantaneously. And I think that is the key word. Look, instantaneous. We live in a world that's so online, that's so saturated with information, that we can get whatever we want instantaneously. I think I said last year, it's not Amazon Prime. We can't order, our significant other and they arrive tomorrow. We're so used to getting everything that way. It's not how it works. Like, we, neurologically, physically, psychologically, we need to connect to this human being, right? So you have to forget what you know about the world of instantaneous, because it's not gonna, the cookie's not gonna be cut that way here, right? So go on the date, really, and it doesn't have to be online, and we'll get to that in a minute. Don't think about looking for instantaneous, all in everything. We're not looking for somebody to be our absolute everything in life. We're looking for somebody that complements who we already are. And I think it's a get rid of the shopping list of absolute wants if there's like 150 things on there, and go with the flow and feel into the feelings and lean into it. Not instantaneous love, ladies. Like, really just ground into, am I present? So, women often, of course, men do it too, but we're speaking to women here. It's the grass is greener on the side of the next swipe. So, constantly moving forward so quickly, like, oh, that emotional connection, that was nice. Intellectually, we really stimulated each other. Sexually, we're not there yet, or maybe we have been, and that was okay. What's next? Maybe there's something greater, better, more. And so it's the idea that singles today are not being fully present with the connection in front of them, already thinking about something more, something greater, something deeper, wanting more. I'm not saying we can't have more, but focus on the person that you're presently in front of, and focus on gauging what deep connection could look like by scoping them out, connecting with yourself. Just don't think that the person in front of you at date one or date two should show up as your absolute everything. Not instantaneous connection, slow burning for a significant other. Um, we keep talking about online dating. I'm so conscious of that because I specialize in people meeting offline through matchmaking and at events, but I am all too acutely aware of how many people do meet online today. It's the most common resource for people to find romance. So we've been speaking into that, but I think also stepping into the theme of being, making big, bold, beautiful moves for your love life post pandemic. Um, why not think about stepping aside from online, putting some really bold, beautiful colors on, standing out from the crowd every day? What that will do for yourself, confidence, and the way you show up in the world energetically, wearing bright pinks and oranges and reds, and just putting yourself out there on a day-to-day basis, saying, having a longer conversation with the barista, having, more engaged interactions with somebody in the restaurant, in the coffee shop, in the wine bar, asking friends to connect you with other friends, or going to different, saying yes more, putting yourself out more offline. I don't know if I told you ladies this last year that attended, but I did kind of challenge myself to do that for 30 days offline when I was single a good few years ago. And I tell you, I have never been asked on so many dates. There was something about I wasn't feeling confident. I had coaches. I wanted to do something practical and strategic. I'd done a lot of research. What could I do? What was simple, cost effective, but was also going to have such a massive, in my eyes, positive impact on my confidence? I thought I'd trial and error and see. So for 30 days, every single day, wore the brightest colors I could find in my wardrobe, and had longer conversations, physically standing out from the crowd. And I had so many people ask me for my number. I went on so many gorgeous connected dates. I was walking around with books. People were asking me about what I was reading. And it was an organic connection with different people. And I felt seen. I felt confident. I felt like I was stepping into my power in my love life. And it really helped to step away from dating apps, because as a matchmaker, I couldn't date my clients despite, doing this for 10 years. I couldn't. And I couldn't go to another matchmaker and say, hey, matchmaker here, can you help me? Because that's not how it works. Dating, like, I guess my competitors' clients, they wouldn't have loved that. So I had no other choice. Despised online dating. And honestly, ladies, it did something absolutely wild for my confidence. So hopefully that's a practical tip to help you.
The idea sounds great, but it also sounds a little bit scary for some. So if it does, that's probably all the more reason why that would be a really great activity.
Yeah, and also, I completely agree. I was petrified. I was like, "Oh my gosh," like wearing bright red every single day, pinks and oranges. I started slow and I started wearing like a bright orange scarf or, pinks or wearing a jumper with like love hearts on it or something. I started slow and I built up because I was also aware that I would normally wear like all black and, black jeans or black slacks or black dress and tights. And I just thought, I'm going to mix this up for myself and my confidence. If you want to date differently, you've got to do things differently. And I also wanted to do things organically. And so I, I guess it was like building blocks to my confidence. It was really lovely. It was a beautiful experience.
And even if you don't own a lot of bright colored clothes, like myself, I have a wardrobe of black, and a touch of white. But I think there's still something to be said for actually like being more in the moment and taking more time to engage with people and taking a bit of time just to allow yourself to be seen. Because quite often we're a woman on a mission, we're ticking off our to-do list, or we kind of like to just sort of slink and around and be unseen. So I love that. I'm actually going to infuse a little bit more of that in my day to day as well. I had a question that just popped to mind. That's a little bit of on a sidetrack from what we were talking about, but I know a lot of the women are really insistent on making sure that there's instant chemistry with somebody.
Mm.
And having that physical attraction, having that as in their partner is really important. And quite often going on dates and not feeling that instantly with somebody, and then really not like writing someone off. But then also the women that are open to meeting someone who they're not connected with, they've often said to me, how many dates do I go before I have to just accept the fact that I'm not into this guy, I don't like him. And I just wanted to get your sense of, over your experience in matching people for the female, is it pretty much the need to have instant chemistry right away? How long might it take to develop, if it's going to develop at all? What tips from a practical perspective would you give the ladies about how much of a chance would they give the guys who are kind of nice but not sure if there's that instant connection?
Yeah, I think that's such a good question, and it kind of bridges from the question you were asking before about patterns, and kind of went off on such a tangent, but hopefully helpful one. That I didn't fully lean into that question either about patterns. Well, yeah, it's people not getting past the first or second dates. Looking for that next, please, looking for the deeper, I guess, like chemistry connection. And I always say, if you're feeling, it's very northern of me in the UK, when in doubt, do not. So that means that if you are not sure and the date was okay, you felt okay, like in terms of chemistry, you didn't fancy the pants off them, go on a second date. Because I'm telling you, like, let's say, you're a community spirit kind of woman and you're into philanthropy, and then they don't share these deep, intimate things with you on the first date, but on the second date, you find out that they are a philanthropist and they invest in so many communities and they're like-minded. Something happens in our brain that goes off, and we will find them more attractive. The more we know someone, the more we can be connected to them. It's not just on visual first sight surface level. You need to give it a couple of dates to bed in. Okay, after a third date, if you're not feeling it, you can't see yourself waking up next to them for the rest of your life. I mean, not that you should feel that straight away on a third date either, but you can't see yourself waking up next to them. Okay, you're not sexually attracted to them. We'll say it as we see it. You're not sexually attracted to them. And I'm a matchmaker that also matches people on sexual compatibility. Probably the only one that does that, because I think it's so important. I mean, we're human beings. We're built for physical connection as well. Physical connection is what sets us human beings in romantic relationships aside from all other interpersonal relationships. It's that tangible, tactile, physical connection, as well as the intellectual and emotional and spiritual exploration with one another. And so, yes, I do believe that people have to find each other physically attractive. But what I'm saying is, it will come after time, 2 or 3 dates, if you're not feeling it straight away, all in. So, when in doubt, do now. If it was okay, go on a second date, see how you feel, call it a date 3.
One of the things that I find fascinating about watching so much reality television, and we're so fortunate or unfortunate, I guess, if you hate
Yeah.
watching shows like The Bachelor and Love Island and Married at First Sight and all of these, but you can really observe this phenomena that for men, mostly, there needs to be an instant attraction for him to continue to be invested. But for women, I've noticed that doesn't seem to be the case, that attraction does actually have the potential to develop, even if it's not instant, is what I've tended to notice too. So I think that's really useful advice.
Mm-hmm. We women, we're often shamed. You know, we're still like trying our best to leave this patriarchal setup of society, you know? And it's almost like we're still eradicating the shame of how we feel if we're not sexually attracted to somebody. It's almost like a shameful thing to say out loud. Well, yeah, I connected with them, but I didn't want to jump into bed with them. Like, you know, so what? Like, speak up about it. Step into your power. If you do not feel that physical connection, acknowledge it. Because then the sooner you can acknowledge what it is that isn't serving you on a physical level, then you can acknowledge what it is that you're looking for. If it's not just like chemistry, but it's something that you feel really attracted to on the surface, just be honest about that as well. You know, there's no shame in sharing with yourself at a bare minimum what it is that you want. And the sooner you can connect to your desires, that's what I see it as. It's a deep desire, and that's a physical connection as well. Then you can streamline how you're strategizing the search, right? Don't feel any shame if you don't find connection, because men are very vocal, and we're just not, because we're still trying our best to exit the setup of society.
In the app dating or early sort of connecting phase, or in those first stages of getting to know someone, are there any common mistakes that we're making?
Yeah, so many. It might be easier for me to just kind of do a little rundown, just kind of at the top of the iceberg. Number one, not explaining enough about who we are and what it is that we want, through shame, holding ourselves back. Be fully, boldly out there about who you are and what you want. Two, if you're using online dating, putting so many pictures of you with all your gorgeous girlfriends and friends and stuff, just pictures of you, maybe one with a group of people to show that you're socially connected and have good interpersonal relationships. Show your interests, align yourself with people with those interests. Don't hide from those, you know, share those. What are we also doing? We are sinking too much time chatting to people that we do not know, sharing too much of ourselves. They have to work to know more about you, so let them do that work. Don't stop trying to be loved. Wait for them to earn that space in your life. Don't give all of yourself energetically and emotionally all at once, with yourself, like instantaneously too. You know, let them earn that space. They're still strangers, right? No pseudo relationships, no chatting for weeks or months on end. Give yourself I don't know how busy you all are. I know that we live in a very busy world. 1 or 2 weeks of chit chat, back and forth, maximum, onto a date, gauging the chemistry. Self-sabotaging, also just one date. They weren't my all, they weren't my everything. Next, and then you're back to swiping. Please do know, ladies, that algorithms are built by gamification sites. They're built as a game. They understand what it is that your brain can become connected to, addicted to. I know that's a big word, but in essence, that they're built in a gamification way. And so they will show you people that have facial it's like a facial recognition. It knows who you're attracted to. It shows you more of that. So you want more of that. So you go on a date, okay, and you're not getting the hits of serotonin. So there's almost like a compulsion to go back online. That self-sabotage in itself, becoming addicted to the swipe, right? So another thing is not being deeply present with the person that you're connecting with at the time. Give it a little bit of time. It can be self-sabotaging for those people that aren't doing the deep work on themselves now, to know who they are, to know their love languages, to communicate, to find out how they communicate. How do you communicate yourself and love? Are you scared to ask those big, ugly questions a few dates in because you want to be liked more than you want to like that person? So acknowledging, how do they make you feel? Not, do they like me? Are they attracted to me? We women, we lose our power a lot because we are in this society that, I guess I keep talking about, still patriarchal, where we just want to be attractive to men. Oh no, don't pass over power in that way. Sit in your dating seat and check in on, are you attracted to them? Do they make you feel connected? Are you aligned with them? Are they aligning with you and what you want? Step so hard into your power that you're not passing it over to somebody else. Who cares if they don't find you attractive? You are your beautiful self. Don't go to be liked. Go to like yourself and enjoy the moment that you're spending with that person. If they're not your person, just know you've got the right to choose. Equally, if here's a pattern, if somebody is rejecting you, I see so many people fall off the dating wagon. I know that there are probably other coaches on here talking about rejection and overcoming it in life, perhaps, but in dating, it's a massive section of self-sabotage in a way that we women often make it mean so much about us, that they didn't choose us, that we weren't chosen, that we start the search for a significant other. It's like spending so much time having to heal. Gorgeous babes, it means nothing about us if they do not choose us. You have the right to choose, they have the right to choose. They're just like opening the door for the right person. Rejection is a hurdle. It's not the final destination. It's not the be all and end all. Of course it hurts. Like, we're only human. Feel it, learn from it, grow from it, and go from it. That's it. Don't let rejection hold you back if they don't choose you, because you will choose your person.
Yes, we do have to develop a bit of resilience around that, don't we? And, especially when I see a lot of men don't really know how to choose great photos of themselves. So it can go either way, but often it can be a surprise when you turn up on a date with someone and they actually look better than what you expected. But I think it's really important that you reminded us that our desires, our values, our wants in the relationship are really important, and that we don't just throw all of that out the window and then hope this guy chooses because he's good looking.
It's because he's good. It's true. It's like doing all of this extensive work, especially over the last couple of years. I know I certainly have. I know so many people that have, and I'm sure so many ladies here have too. But then to go on a date and like, oh, they didn't choose us, back to square one. You just have to, build that resilience muscle and just know that they are closing the door, but another one is opening. The right door is opening. Just takes time. It really does. Not instantaneous amounts of time. Slow burning, slow but steady wins the race.
Oh, I can't believe that our time has flown by so quickly, Sarah. I would love first for you to share what beautiful gift you have for the ladies, and then we'll talk about some final thoughts and final tips before we finish up.
Oh, amazing. So I'm sharing with all of you gorgeous, beautiful women a love success guide. So you can navigate your way through, I think it's about 15 pages that I've written of practicality to set yourself up for 2022 love success. What can you do? How can you communicate yourself? How can you put yourself out there? How can you take stock of what's not serving you and navigate the search for love? It's a bit of a practical guide for love success. And anyone that completes it can have 15 minutes on a call with me if they like to share their thoughts with me. That's something I thought this morning. Anyone that really sits down, because there's so many gorgeous coaches on this that really works through the practical love success guide, and they have questions, they want to share their learnings, they want to share their findings about themselves, and ask me a question or two about what they can do better to make more informed decisions in their love life. I'm your girl. Just let me know. Work through it, and then when you have, we'll have 15 minutes, and we'll talk through your findings.
Some final thoughts. I know there's so much we will have to pick up again next year, but what would you like to share with the ladies before we finish up?
I just energetically feel so great to have got all of those thoughts about navigating the search off my chest. You are absolutely incredible, and be so conscious of that, communicate it well, and also ensure that you're meeting someone on the same page as you in terms of communication. Um, final thoughts. Do something differently this year. You spent the last 2 years swiping away, chatting away, having socially distanced dates and connections. Search for something that's really conscious and deeply connected this year, by doing something different in the offline space, whether that's events with similar interests or your passions where you'll meet new groups of people, whether that's taking those bold, brave steps to put your bright self out there, or maybe that's asking your friends to connect you with other single friends who you know is an informed date and decision for a connection. Yeah, try to move away from what you've been doing that hasn't served you so far and try something different.
My God, I love that. Thank you so much for leaving those final thoughts, because I do genuinely believe that the universe, even if what we're actually doing in that moment, we don't necessarily think we're going to meet our future husband on that particular day or evening, I do think that the universe kind of sees us making an effort, sees us changing things up, sees us being intentional about it, and is more likely to reward us with more opportunities to meet great people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The law of attraction, that's beautiful, the way in which it works. So yeah, absolutely. And have fun, enjoy navigating the search for love. It's supposed to be fun. They call it dating for a reason. They don't call it a date to find the one. It's dating because you're learning about other people and yourself along the way. Have fun while you do that.
Thank you so much, beautiful Sarah, for being with us this year. And thank you everyone for tuning in again today. And I hope you've got some really beautiful thoughts and some action steps to take out for your week and beyond. We will see you again tomorrow for another day of Love Breakthrough Virtual Retreat. Bye for now.